Haven't heard much in the area of housing, a housing policy for Nigerians.
Well, there's a housing policy. The housing policy is affordable housing. That's the national housing policy. Now, what is affordable is a matter of very big disagreement. I remember we had a summit where we invited all of the experts to come and tell us what really affordability was, and somebody said, look, the best definition was, quote and unquote, it depends. And really,
the dependent factors here is that the cost of cement is 2,700 naira, and the cost of iron rod for a ton is about 230,000 naira. So how can you get cheap, affordable houses for people who earn 18,000 naira minimum wage?
No. Now, when you add the word cheap, you change the definition. Affordable doesn't mean that it is cheap. And affordable is a function of what your current income is, and that's the relativity really, and where you want to live. If you want to live in Metama, you want to live in Asokoro, you know that, and this is the global practice, that you must be within a certain income bracket to be able to afford, because the rental values there are also different. So if you inherit, if you are a very poor person or a person of average means, and you inherit land in Asokoro or Metama, will you accept average rent for it because of your status? Certainly not. You want market value for it. But what are we doing? We have developed a national housing design. That's the program now, as against the policy. There's a program to achieve that policy.
Because I was about to redefine my question and say, perhaps we've heard a lot about the policy. What we haven't seen is the policy being implemented.
There's a program of housing, and as I speak, we're building in 33 states. 33 states. And what are we trying to achieve? We've responded first to the diversity, climatic diversity of Nigeria. People in the north don't want the same type of houses that people in the south want because of the heat and because of the temperature. So we have to respond to that by design. There are also cultural differences. And so people in the north don't necessarily all want. Some of them want, not all, want to live in flats and high rises. They prefer bungalows and all of that. And so we responded to that after extensive consultation. So we are at the stage that I call the proof of concept stage. So we're building in 33 states to see whether those houses, when they're finished, will meet the test of affordability and also acceptability.
I think it's easier to ask you which 3 states are not included in this.
Let me see if I can recall that. I honestly can't recall those 3 states.
Is Lagos one of them?
Lagos is one of them.
Abuja is definitely not counted.
No. We're building in the FCT, I believe. I think there's 1 or 2 other states. I think we haven't started in Rivers, I think.
And why is Lagos excluded?
We haven't got land yet.
Rivers?
Rivers, I think that we got land, and then some we had to pay because we were asking for the land free so that we could deliver it. Because once you pay for the land, then the cost impacts. In fact, I remember the governor of Kano, I think, they issued us a bill. And so I wrote back to the governor. I said, look, we're going to incident this bill back to your people. And said, oh, that he will take it off.
So, but at the end of the day, what do we expect when all of this?
What we expect first is to prove that this concept works. So we have 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. Subject it first to the test of acceptability. Do the people accept it? Okay. If they accept it, can they afford it? And therefore, if you are, and the income bracket, we're looking at people between level 8 and level 14 income bracket, but not only for public servants. So but we will use that income bracket as the guide.
When you say level 8 to level 14, what income bracket is that?
The salary levels across
So people in the private sector will understand what income you're talking about.
Now I'm trying to remember all those figures. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can make them available. But those were the benchmarks that we started to work with, and we expect then that we will be able to support successful applicants who accept the concept with mortgages.
How many houses are you building now?
Almost 2,000. Almost 2,000 as concept, because we can't roll out. The next phase of the rollout, if the sample works, will allow us to deliver maybe in 6 months what we're currently doing in 12 months, because then we're talking to a group of people who want to automate, and that is how to achieve rollout. They're going to invest in formworks that are made based on the designs that we validate, because once they are made, you can't change them. And so they produce about 2,000, you can use them about 2,000 times.
So how soon are we going to see these houses in the 33 states?
Well, there are different stages of construction right now. Some are approaching roofing stage, some are just coming out of foundation, some are at decking stage. They are in different states of construction. The Minister of State is actually the one going around ensuring that we share these responsibilities, and we are also completing houses through our parastatals, the Federal Mortgage Bank, and they are giving loans to estate developers. They've issued loans to estate developers, develop about 1,380 housing units. They've also granted over 2,000 mortgages since we assumed office.
Quickly, let's talk about, sorry to interrupt you, but we're running out of time, and let's quickly talk about works. Yes, a lot of work is going on the roads. I mean, people who live between Lagos and Ibadan, Lagos and Abeokuta can tell you that they're seeing certain things. And Lagos is not the only place. I'm sure there are definitely other places around the country. But only recently, you were involved in this, is it bickering, we should call it, with the Lagos State Governor on the state of the road that leads to the international airport. He says he's been trying to fix that road. It's not the first time, even when you were governor of Lagos, that controversy also came up. What precisely is the current state? Why has the federal government not been able to intervene, as it were, or let the state handle it?
In fact, last night I just signed a letter to him. The government has approved the release of the road on the recommendation of the ministry. These things take time, and that was the explanation that I made. These things take time, and there are also other interests in the road. Ministry of Transportation seemed to take the view that that road, because it led to an airport, was subject to a certain regulatory regime. And we need to clear all of these things.
You don't think 18 months is a very long time for it to have taken?
No. I got to know about the application for the road when? Sometime last year. Certainly not 18 months. Certainly not 18 months.
Would you be willing to hand over some trunk A roads to states who say, we'd like to take over some of these government roads?
Well, it depends on... There are many roads that were set out life as trunk A roads that have become municipal roads. And in all of the states that I have been to, I've told the state governors to come and take over those roads. We've handed over the Western Bypass to Kaduna. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, I was telling the representative of Abia State to remind his governor what he and I discussed about the road leading into Aba Metropolis. It's still a federal road, but they are installing street lighting and pavement, side pavement. So it's no longer, and there are roads in Enugu State that go through the GRA that are still federal roads. So Airport Road, Mobolaji Bank Anthony, what's this road that goes to the Mint? Ahmadu Bello Way, it's still a federal road. Kingsway Road in Ikoyi is still a federal road. And there's so many roads like that were built in the 70s, post-war. There are still federal roads that have become municipal in nature. And many of the roads in Ogun State that Governor Musu was taking me around, and I kept telling him, if you built all of these roads, you better just apply for them so that I hand them over to you whilst we still can, without prejudice to your right to reimbursement for what you have done.
Well, this is certainly lots. Power works and housing, they can be overwhelming. Are you overwhelmed with them?
No, not at all. I have a great team.
Okay. Mr. Babatunde Fashola, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, then, so there you go. We'll be back in a moment. Do join us again.